This announcement concerns the first Amendment 82 project in the history of Arkansas. I think all of you know, and you've gotten tired of hearing me say it over the course of the last 6+ years, that I believe the cornerstone of what this administration is about and public policy really centers on two cornerstones of education and economic development. And so the economic development aspect of it in terms of creating the kind of jobs that allow our people to enjoy a good quality of life is something that we work on constantly and consistently. And this is another example of what some of that work actually results in. This is going to be a steel mill located in Osceola, Arkansas, which incidentally, along with the other steel mills that exist in Mississippi County, makes it the second largest steel producing county in America. And there's some information, although I will do a caveat on this and tell you this is not verified. We have some preliminary information. It may be the largest single congressional district of steel mills in America. Whether that's true or not, we know that the other is. It is a $1.1 billion investment. It is 525 direct immediate jobs with an average salary of $75,000 apiece. In addition to those 525 jobs, there will be temporary jobs in the neighborhood of 2,000 during the construction process, about 2,000 construction jobs that will be generated. Obviously, those won't be permanent because once the construction's completed, but a lot of those folks in construction may end up being some of the same people that end up being part of that regular workforce. Hello, Mr. Attorney General. You ought to come on up here too. Right here. All right. But in addition to the 525 jobs, in addition to the construction jobs, approximately 2,000 construction jobs, the track record has been, although this isn't being held out as a promise, but the track record has been that there's a real likelihood and a strong expectation of other company locations proximate to this, not approximate, but proximate to this, of both suppliers and customers. And so it's a pretty big deal, to put it in the vernacular of my son. It's a pretty big deal. And it will require the process, and the process in Amendment 82 is that the preliminary agreement has been reached. It's not been put in final ratification form. There's still a couple I's dotting and T crossing that has to be done. And that will be done and then presented as an unratified agreement to the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate. And under Amendment 82, then the legislature does their due diligence. They have 20 days to do their due diligence to ensure that they are happy, satisfied with the provisions. And then once that's done, it'll be put in bill form and the legislature will have to pass it. There will be a $125 million bond issue that will be comprised of a $50 million loan, which is paid back, and then $50 million in a grant, and then there's a $20 million component for some pilings and infrastructure that is the max the state is eligible or is required to do. It may be less than that $20 million, depending on what those pilings actually cost. If it's more than that's shared equally with the company. If it's more than a $40 million total, the company pays for anything over that. So the state's liability in that regard is a max of 20. There are the normal performance incentives applicable to a steel mill, akin to what was done with Nucor a number of years ago. And there are two other sets of folks here that have to be, I think, specifically noted. One is Burlington Northern, who are here and providing some extensive infrastructure and rail service, and incidentally putting a lot of their own money into this, which is always a good sign. And then the reliability of the electric needs. You can't say enough about Entergy and what they've done to work with this company, because it's a huge consumer of electricity. A steel mill is a huge consumer of electricity. And the reliability factor on that is so significant that is a major decision maker whenever you talk about something of this fashion. I'm sure I've probably left out some things, but there are a lot of folks that can fill in some blanks. Let me introduce the mover and shaker and the boss in all this process. He's not a stranger to some Arkansans with his background, but let me introduce John Carini.
Well, thank you, Governor, and I'm not going to repeat all the data, but this is sort of like deja vu for me. I was reminiscing back in 1985, but we did it then on the front steps of the Capitol, Governor, rather than inside, so it's a little more comfortable in here. But hey, let me reiterate a little bit of what the Governor said. There's a lot of people to thank here, guys. You don't put together a $1.1 billion project with a lot of people doing a lot of heavy lifting and doing a lot of work to make this day happen. You know, obviously the Governor and his staff, but you know, AIDC. I've done this for 35 years, and Grant Tennille and his staff aren't one of the best. They are the best economic development team that I've ever had the privilege to work with. You know, I mean, he puts the killer bees on me. You know, Brian, Becky, and Brantley, and you know, they don't take no for an answer. But I'll tell you something about AIDC. Every part of the negotiations, he's put the citizens of Arkansas first, second, and third. Thank you for your work, Grant. Appreciate it. And you're going to hear from the dog with a bone, for a better expression, behind me, Mayor Dickey Kennemore up in Osceola. I mean, he just would not let go. And he may not mind losing once, but he isn't going to lose twice, Mayor, are you? Okay. As the Governor said, Entergy, with their reliable power, and this site, if you go see it, it's steel mill heaven. On the east side of the property, you've got Big Muddy, Big River, Mississippi River. On the west side of the property, you've got the BN Railroad, Class I Railroad, take our product all over the country and bring our scrap metal in from all over the country. Adjacent to them, you got Entergy again with reliability, a 500 kV line sitting directly on the property. And then 3 miles to the west, you got I-55. So what I'm trying to point out from a logistics standpoint, it's great. You know, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Judge Randy Carney and Cliff Chitwood, the Mississippi County Economic Development folks. They've done their job. The Governor introduced James O'Donnelly from the BN Railroad. Arkansas Capital, Mr. Sam, you know, is providing some certain structural financing for us. But most importantly, the reason we're coming to Arkansas is because of the can-do attitude of the governmental agencies, plus the Arkansas farm boys and farm girls, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that with all due respect and admiration and everything else. And I've seen it happen 28 years ago. You give those farm boys the right tools, the right equipment, you train them properly, you keep management the heck out of their way, and Katie bar the door, The governor will be calling me a liar because they're not making $75,000. They'll be pushing $100,000. I've seen it happen again and again and again. This thing is going to be done with about $300 million of equity and about $700 million of debt financing. The other critical thing, hopefully, will be in the ground by the end of the year. You know, we've got some regulatory approvals to go through. Obviously, Amendment 82 we have to go through, and then the county and the city have to do a little bit of their little bit of their homework up there. But once we start, I can tell you the last one I did about 5 years ago. The day we started construction, the sales tax receipts in that particular county went up 17.2%. I mean, it's amazing what 2,000 construction workers do. They eat a lot and they drink a lot of beer, so it's great for everybody. I'm delighted to be back in Arkansas. Really, I never left. I mean, I see some friends from the scrap industry here, you know, the Ronells, the Tenenbaum, and the Altmans. It's a red letter day for them too, and we're glad to be here. So thank you very much, Governor. Yes. Grant said, and guys, I didn't come up with this. You know, we said we were working this under a thing called Rebel Steel, and I didn't like the connotations of Rebel Steel, so I told everybody, the state, the county, our investors, come on, let's come up with a great name, and the great name, it's going to be Big River LLC. So thanks, Grant. Thank you, Governor.
Now the mayor of Osceola, Dickie Kennemore.
Thank you, Governor. As John said, we have a super site, and he had looked at it before and actually selected it, and through, I won't go into the reason, but through no fault of his or ours, it didn't work, and he went elsewhere and carried a super project elsewhere. We've had 4 super projects look at us, and we've been the bridesmaid, not the bride, but this time we won the prize. This dog has got the bone, as John says, and I would have to say, and I mean this sincerely, as this project has moved along, and we've been disappointed, Cliff and I have been disappointed so many times, and the people of Osceola, that I have prayed that this project will come together, this group will come together, and it will be successful. So I have to thank God for bringing this team together and for giving us this super site, because he has blessed us, and it is not just an economic event. I hope and pray that the investors and the owners make big money, but also what it's going to do, it's a social event. It is an event that's going to bring a struggling Delta County out of the doldrums, and it allows hardworking people like John referred to, these guys that come off of the farms, they'll be able to educate their kids, send their kids to college, feed their kids, and have a quality of life and a self-esteem that they've never had before. So it is such a great event, and I have to thank the governor for sticking with us. We talked to him early, and he said, I'm in for the duration. And for John, for, you know, somebody in the governor's office referred to him as Andrew Carnegie, which he is Andrew Carnegie, Mississippi County, but from now on, we're going to call him Godfather. And so, John, thank you so much for all you've done for Mississippi County, both originally in '85 and what you're about to do there. You have helped so many of our people, and I'm so grateful, and it is just such a great thing. I can't put it in words. So, with that, I'll just say thanks to the whole team. Thank you, Governor.
Mississippi County Judge Randy Carney.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. How about that John Carini, my new best friend? We first started looking at this project almost 2 years ago, and my response was, wow. Today, my response is, wow. And 2 years from now, my response is going to be, wow. And 25 years from now, my response is going to be, wow. We got that? Big River. Big River. You know, that's what happens when intelligent, successful, aggressive businessmen come together with an aggressive town with strong local leadership. We may be a small town in a small county in a small state, but we don't act like it sometimes. We think big and we act big, and we have a big governor. Between the investors of Big River and what we have to offer with our people, our strong local leadership, and the best economic developer in the business in Cliff Chitwood, what we have is a model of a successful partnership. Mississippi County, Arkansas is a progressive place, and this is an exciting time. And I invite you to come join us, come grow with us. Thank you.
They're not going to talk, mainly because they don't want to, but I'd be remiss if I didn't echo what John indicated about Grant Tennille and the entire AEDC team. The nuts and bolts of all this. You know, I described my time in the Senate with a lot of the reporters that are mostly gone now, although there's a few that are still around, as being a traffic cop. I didn't introduce a lot of bills. I ended up more often than not guiding stuff in different directions. And frankly, that's my role as a governor. I can't know and can't spend the countless hours doing the detail work necessary to bring any project to fruition. That's done by dedicated professionals, dedicated men and women at the Arkansas Economic Development Commission. They are extraordinarily talented, extraordinarily hardworking. Grant gets a lot of the credit as their leader, but he'd be the first to tell you that he is surrounded by enormously talented and dedicated staff that do all this work. You've heard about the 3 Bs, and the 3 Bs would tell you it's even more than them. It's countless folks that do all this hard work. And so I just want to publicly thank Grant and his entire staff and that entire agency for making Arkansas competitive in so many ways and presenting that professional front that even when we lose, even when we are unsuccessful with sister states or sometimes other countries, we constantly get the feedback from principals and business leaders that we deal with that they are extraordinarily impressed with the professional way our AEDC staff goes about their business. So Grant, thank you, and thank you to all the staff.